Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Roy English Talk, the place where your English becomes fluent, confident, and natural. I'm so happy you're here with me today because in this special episode, we're diving deep into 250 plus advanced English phrases that will instantly make your conversations more impressive and professional. Have you ever listened to native English speakers and thought, how do they speak so naturally, so effortlessly? It's not just about grammar rules or big vocabulary words. It's about the phrases, the secret phrases that make their English flow, smooth, sharp, and confident. Phrases that connect ideas, express feelings, and make you sound like you've been speaking English forever. And that's exactly what you'll get in this video. Over 250 advanced English phrases that will level up your speaking instantly. But we're not diving into boring textbook sentences or robotic language. Nope. This is real, powerful, everyday English. The kind that sounds impressive in a job interview, relatable in casual chats, and smooth in business meetings. These are the tools that fluent speakers use without even thinking. Let's start with a few questions. Have you ever said "I think" 100 times and wished you had stronger alternatives? Or said "I'm happy" or "I'm sad" and felt like your emotions were being lost in translation? Do you feel your English is good, but not quite natural or confident? That's about to change. This video is divided into 8 powerful sections, each focused on a different area of conversation: everyday talk, business situations, emotional expressions, idioms, connectors, polite disagreement, fillers, and more. We'll go phrase by phrase with examples, meaning, and tone, so you don't just hear them, you feel how to use them. You'll learn how to agree without sounding boring, how to argue without sounding rude, how to express excitement, disappointment, or curiosity, all like a fluent speaker would. This is the kind of English that doesn't just sound advanced. It sounds alive. And you don't need to memorize every phrase today. Pick the ones that speak to your life. Use them in texts, emails, calls, and chats. Just a few a day, and your English will grow naturally, faster than you ever thought possible. This isn't a list, it's a transformation. Let's upgrade your English, phrase by phrase. Let's go. 1. Everyday conversations. Let's kick things off with the part of English you use the most: everyday conversations. These are the chats at the coffee shop, at the bus stop, in the office kitchen, or online with friends. And here's the truth. Most learners get stuck using the same 10 expressions. That's good. I agree. Really? Over and over again. But fluent speakers, they have a much bigger toolbox. And today, I'm giving you that toolbox. Let's start with reacting to news. When someone tells you something surprising, don't just say, "Really?" Instead, try, "You're kidding." It shows genuine shock. "No way! That actually happened?" It's playful and keeps the energy up. "That's wild." Casual and expressive. "Get out of here." Playful disbelief. "Well, I didn't see that coming." Great for unexpected news. When you're impressed, instead of "That's great," go for "That's seriously impressive." That takes some guts. When someone does something bold, "You've outdone yourself." High praise. Now that's what I call talent. "You crushed it." Super casual and fun. Let's shift to giving your opinion. Saying "I think" is fine, but let's level it up. From my perspective, "If you ask me, it seems to me that." My take on this is, "I'd argue that." And if you're agreeing with someone, say goodbye to "yeah" and try "absolutely, I'm with you." I couldn't agree more. You hit the nail on the head. That's exactly how I see it. We're on the same page, but don't just agree, build on what others say. And to add to that, that reminds me of, exactly, and here's why. When you want to politely disagree, I see it a bit differently. That's a valid point, but I'm not entirely sure I agree. I can see where you're coming from, though. Use this tone to stay respectful and engaging. Now let's get into natural transitions in conversations. Speaking of which, that brings up another point. Before I forget, let me circle back to that. These are perfect when you don't want the convo to die. Want to show empathy or concern? Try. That must be tough. I can only imagine how that felt. I'm here if you want to talk. Thanks for opening up to me. And when you need to end a conversation smoothly. Anyway, I won't keep you. Let's catch up soon. It was really nice talking to you. Take care of yourself. When confirming understanding or clarifying, so what you're saying is, let me make sure I got that right. Just to clarify, when you're buying time to think, instead of awkward silence, let me think for a sec. That's a good question. Off the top of my head, all of these keep the conversation going smoothly while sounding natural and fluent. Let's add more reactions, especially for casual chats. Totally. No doubt about it. Tell me more. For real? Get this. To build excitement for your own story. Now for those moments when you're relating to someone's problem. Same here. You're not alone. Been there, done that. I feel you. Quick expressions when you're multitasking or distracted. Hang on a sec. Give me a moment. Let me just finish this real quick. Now, let's make things a little more colorful with informal but powerful expressions. That's bananas! Crazy, surprising. I'm all ears. Ready to listen. It's not rocket science. Easy to understand. Let's play it by ear. Decide as you go. It's a win-win, a situation where everyone benefits. Some phrases can also show calm control in the middle of chaos. Let's take a step back. Let's not jump to conclusions. One thing at a time, let's go over some natural expressions to start conversations. So, what's new with you? How have you been holding up? You keeping busy? What's been on your radar lately? And a few for when someone asks you how you are, and you want to sound more expressive. I'm hanging in there. When things are tough, can't complain. Pretty swamped, but good. For busy days. I've been better, but I'm okay. Finally, use these golden conversation extenders to keep things rolling. What happened next? And then what? Wait, you're telling me I need the full story. How'd you deal with that? Here's your mini mission. Pick 10 new phrases from this section that feel powerful to you. Say them out loud. Yes, out loud. Use at least 3 in real conversations this week. Repeat them until they feel natural. This is the kind of learning that sticks. The kind that transforms your English, not by studying harder, but by speaking smarter. 2. Work and business English. Let's step into the world of professional English, where the way you speak can change how you're perceived. Whether you're in a job interview, writing emails, leading meetings, or negotiating a salary, your phrases can either make you sound basic or make you sound like someone who's fluent, confident, and fully in control. Now, we've all said things like, I want to talk about, or this is good. But if you want to level up, let's switch those out for more advanced alternatives. I'd like to touch on more natural and professional. This presents a strong opportunity. Let's dive into the details. Oh, Amo antanteman sumath. Smooth and confident. Let's start with meetings and group discussions. These phrases help you lead, contribute, and stay sharp in the room. Let's get the ball rolling. To begin the meeting smoothly. Before we move on, I'd like to raise one more point. Let's circle back to that in a bit. For controlling the flow. That's outside the scope of today's call. Keeps the agenda on track. To put it in perspective, helps everyone see the big picture. When you want to agree with someone's idea, avoid bland responses like, "That's right," upgrade to, "I'm fully on board with that approach." That aligns well with our objectives. That's a strategic move. Exactly. Thanks for bringing that up. Now, let's say you need to challenge or disagree without sounding aggressive. Here's how fluent professionals do it. I see where you're coming from, but here's another angle. That's an interesting point. What if we looked at it this way instead? Let's unpack that further before making a final call. I'm not completely convinced yet. Can we explore that more? This kind of language shows you're thoughtful, not confrontational. Let's shift to leading projects or delegating tasks. You can show leadership with phrases like, "Let's prioritize this task first." Can we assign ownership to make sure it gets done? I'll take point on this. Meaning you'll lead. Let's align on key milestones. We'll regroup at the end of the week for a check-in. When presenting an idea or proposal, sound clear and persuasive with phrases like, "What I propose is a 3-step strategy." This solution addresses the core issue directly. Here's the rationale behind this approach. Let me break it down in simple terms. These results speak for themselves. In job interviews or performance reviews, this is your time to shine. Instead of generic phrases like, "I'm a team player," try, "I excel at cross-functional collaboration." "I'm proactive about identifying gaps and fixing them." "I consistently deliver under pressure." My approach combines efficiency with creativity. I'm always looking for ways to optimize results. When describing accomplishments, use measurable language. I reduced onboarding time by 30% through process improvements. I led a project that generated $150K in new revenue. I implemented a feedback loop that improved team performance metrics. Need to ask for support, clarification, or extensions? Here's how to sound polished and human. Could you walk me through that one more time? I'd appreciate a second opinion on this. Would it be possible to extend the deadline by a day or two? I want to be sure we're on the same page before moving forward. When writing professional emails, these phrases upgrade your communication. Instead of just checking in, try, "I wanted to follow up on our last conversation regarding," instead of "please see attached," use, "Attached is the document we discussed. Please let me know if you have any feedback." Instead of "thanks," try, "Thanks so much for your time and input," or "Much appreciated. Looking forward to your reply." When you need to reschedule or change a plan, say, "Can we shift our call to later this week?" "Would another time work better for you?" Let's reschedule to ensure we're fully prepared. And for negotiations, whether it's pricing, deadlines, or deals, I'd be open to discussing flexible options. Let's work together on something mutually beneficial. I'd prefer to revisit that figure as it's a bit above our range. What would make this arrangement work best on your end? During tense or uncertain discussions, control the tone with, "Let's keep the focus on solutions." "I understand the concerns. Let's find common ground." There's clearly room for improvement, and I'm open to ideas. If you ever feel overwhelmed or need more clarity, let me step back and look at the bigger picture. Could we regroup on this tomorrow? Let's revisit this with fresh eyes to wrap up meetings with clarity and purpose. Let's summarize the key takeaways. I'll send a follow-up with action steps. Thanks for your contributions. This was productive. Let's throw in some quick-fire phrases you can use in all types of professional situations for decision-making. Let's weigh the pros and cons. What's the upside here? Does this align with our long-term goals? For time saving, let's not reinvent the wheel. We're working against the clock. Can we fast-track this process? For teamwork, let's collaborate on this. I value your input. We're in this together. For presenting facts, based on the latest data, the numbers indicate, here's what we're seeing so far. For building confidence, this solution has real potential. We've handled tougher challenges before. I trust the team's ability to deliver. Finally, a quick recap of how to practice. Take 10 phrases from this section. Use them in an email, a call, or a voice note. Record yourself using them in context. Yes, talk to your mirror. Watch how your tone shifts. It's all about building habits, not just learning theory. This is how professionals speak. This is how leaders communicate. Emotional expressions. Let's be honest, language isn't just about logic and facts, it's about feelings. And the difference between speaking okay English and speaking fluent, natural English often comes down to how well you express your emotions. Think about it. You're talking to a friend, a coworker, maybe even someone you care about deeply, and all you can say is, I'm happy, or I'm sad, or that's cool. Well, it feels flat, emotionless, basic. So today, we're going to change that. This section will give you powerful, expressive phrases to talk about joy, anger, sadness, surprise, anxiety, frustration, relief, and more. You'll sound more natural, human, and real, just like a native speaker. Let's start with positive emotions, because joy deserves better than I'm happy. Instead of just saying I'm happy, try I'm thrilled. A strong, exciting version of happy. I couldn't be more excited. Super enthusiastic. I'm on cloud 9. Classic idiom for extreme happiness. This just made my day. I'm over the moon about it. When you're calm and content, go for. I feel really at peace with this. Everything feels in sync. I'm in a good place right now. I feel centered. Often used in mindfulness or self-reflection. For those moments when you're proud of yourself or others, I'm proud of how far I've come. That was a big win for me. You crushed it. I'm seriously impressed. I couldn't be prouder of you. Let's shift gears to sadness and disappointment, because I'm sad just doesn't cut it sometimes. Try these instead. I'm feeling really low today. It hit me harder than I expected. I'm struggling to stay positive. That news was a real gut punch. It's been a rough few days. When comforting someone else, avoid robotic phrases like sorry to hear that. Use these instead. I can't imagine how tough that must be. I'm here for you, no matter what. Take all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere. Thank you for trusting me with that. Now let's talk about anger and frustration. Don't just say, I'm angry, try. That really got under my skin. I'm fed up with this. I'm seriously annoyed right now. I'm trying not to lose my cool. I'm at my breaking point. For those moments of mild irritation, you can say, that's kind of frustrating. It's been one of those days. I'm getting tired of this nonsense. Now for fear and anxiety. Instead of just, I'm scared or I'm nervous, try these. I've got a bad feeling about this. My stomach's in knots. I can't stop overthinking. This is giving me major anxiety. I'm seriously on edge. Sometimes it's not fear, it's just pressure or uncertainty. In that case, say, I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. I'm under a lot of pressure right now. It's hard to stay focused with so much going on. But what about when the storm passes and you feel relieved? Instead of, I'm fine now, say, that's a huge weight off my shoulders. I can finally breathe again. Crisis averted. I feel like a burden's been lifted. And when you're grateful or touched, don't settle for thanks. Instead, I really appreciate that. It means a lot. That was incredibly kind of you. You didn't have to do that, but I'm so grateful you did. I'll never forget that. Let's now move into expressing surprise or shock. Skip the simple, really, or wow, and go for, you've got to be kidding me. That blew my mind. I did not see that coming. That came out of nowhere. Wait, what just happened? Sometimes it's pleasant surprise, other times disbelief. Learn to switch your phrases based on the tone. Let's quickly run through how to show you're excited or anticipating something. I'm counting down the days. I've been looking forward to this all week. This can't come soon enough. I'm buzzing right now. Informal but super expressive. Let's make this happen. I'm all in. Let's now look at how to express more complex emotional states. The kind native speakers express easily, but learners often miss. For mental exhaustion, I feel totally drained. My brain's fried. I'm running on empty. When feeling emotionally numb, I feel disconnected from everything right now. It's like I'm just going through the motions. For awkwardness or embarrassment, that was super cringe. I wish the ground would swallow me up. I'm so embarrassed I can't even deal. For regret, I wish I could take that back. That's on me. I should have done better. I messed that up and I know it. When expressing empathy or emotional support, say, you don't have to go through this alone. I hear you and I'm here for you. Let's talk through it together. I can't fix it, but I'll sit with you in it. These aren't just phrases, they're emotional connection tools. Here's a short real-world practice challenge for you. Pick 3 emotional states you feel often, like stress, joy, or frustration. Find 3 new phrases from this list that match each one. Practice using them out loud in context. I'm feeling cake because. Try them in your next conversation. You'll feel the difference. The goal is simple. Speak from the heart, not just the head. Advanced English isn't only about sounding smart, it's about sounding human. Idiomatic phrases. All right, you've got the emotional power. Now it's time to get fluent like a native. And to do that, you need to master the art of idioms. Idiomatic phrases are the heart of native English. They make your speech colorful, relatable, and natural. But here's the tricky part. You can't translate them word for word. That's why they confuse a lot of learners. But don't worry, I've picked the most useful, everyday idioms, and I'll show you how to use them like a pro. Let's start with idioms for everyday life and conversation. When someone's being honest and direct, you can say, they don't beat around the bush. They get straight to the point. Let's cut to the chase. Skip the fluff and get to the main idea. Spill the beans. Tell the secret or hidden information. If something is easy, it's a piece of cake. So simple. No sweat. Don't worry about it. I've got this. It's not rocket science. It's not complicated. When you want to talk about unexpected situations, Out of the blue. Totally unexpected. That came out of left field. Weird and surprising. When push comes to shove, when things get serious. Now let's talk idioms for frustration or problems. I'm at my wit's end. I can't take it anymore. It's driving me up the wall, making me really annoyed. I'm in over my head. This is too much for me. That's the last straw. Final breaking point. If you're stressed about money, say, I'm strapped for cash. Money's a bit tight right now. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. And when something's not fair, that's a raw deal. Unfair situation. I got the short end of the stick. Now let's upgrade your business English idioms. Want to sound fluent at work? Try these. Let's get the ball rolling. Start something. Think outside the box. Be creative. Back to the drawing board. Start again after failure. We're on the same page. In agreement. Touch base. Connect or check in briefly. When talking about progress or decisions, we're making headway. Moving forward. Let's play it by ear. Decide as we go. Put something on the back burner. Postpone it. Need to sound confident in a challenge? Use I'll take the bull by the horns. Face the problem directly. It's crunch time, a critical moment to act. Let's bite the bullet and do it. Accept the pain and get it done. Now let's switch to idioms about emotions. Instead of saying, I'm nervous, say, I've got butterflies in my stomach. My heart was in my throat. Intense anxiety. I was shaking like a leaf. For happiness, I'm over the moon. Extremely happy. I was on cloud 9. It made my day. Anger, go with, I hit the roof. Furious, I lost my temper. I was seeing red. And when you're sad or disappointed, I feel blue. It was a slap in the face. That hit me hard. Next, relationship and social idioms. Talking about people, say, we clicked instantly. Strong connection from the start. We've drifted apart. Slowly lost connection. They're a bad influence. We're not on speaking terms. If you're gossiping or joking, spill the tea. Share gossip. Don't throw me under the bus. Don't betray me. He's got a big mouth. Tells secrets. Let's go rapid fire now. Here are more idioms you'll hear constantly. For success, nailed it. Hit the jackpot. On a roll. For risk or challenge, walking on thin ice. Playing with fire, pushing your luck. For confidence or control, call the shots. Hold your ground. Keep your cool. For time pressure, against the clock. In the nick of time, time's up. For intensity or drama, all hell broke loose. It blew up in my face. Add fuel to the fire. And here's a pro tip. Don't force idioms into your speech. Learn a few that feel natural to you. Practice them out loud. Use them in real conversations. That's how they'll stick. Let me give you a mini challenge. Pick 5 idioms you didn't know before. Say them out loud in full sentences. Use at least one in a real conversation this week. Bonus, teach one of them to a friend. You'll remember it better. Here's an example. Instead of saying, I failed the exam, say, the exam was brutal. I totally bombed it. Instead of saying, we're getting along, say, we hit it off right away. These tiny changes make your English authentic, expressive, and fluent. Remember, idioms aren't just fancy extras. They're how native speakers express their thoughts with color and personality. They help you connect with people, understand pop culture, and sound like you really belong in the conversation. Smart connectors. Here's a fact that most learners don't realize. Fluency isn't just about words, it's about flow. The difference between pretty good English and powerful, persuasive English often comes down to smart connectors. Those phrases that help you link ideas, shift topics, clarify thoughts, and guide your listener through what you're saying. If your speech sounds choppy or your writing feels disconnected, it's probably not your vocabulary. It's your transitions. So in this section, we'll cover the most natural and advanced connectors that native speakers use to sound polished, confident, and totally fluent. Let's start with one of the most important functions of connectors, adding information. You already know, but here are better options. Not only that, but adds emphasis. On top of that, add something extra. What's more, great for layering benefits. In addition, slightly more formal. Another point worth mentioning is perfect for presentations. Now let's look at contrast. Instead of always saying but, try. That said, softens contrast. However, very common in writing. Still, short and powerful. Even so, slight surprise. On the other hand, useful in discussions or debates. Then again, for casual conversations. Here's how that sounds in practice. The idea sounds good. That said, the timeline might be unrealistic. It's risky. Then again, it could really pay off. Next, for giving examples, stop using just for example. Try, take this for instance. Let's say, great for imaginary situations. To illustrate, very clear in structured speaking. Such as, a great case of this is, want to organize your ideas or signal a new point? Use these smart transitions. First off, to begin with, starts the sequence. Next, then. After that, middle steps. Finally, to wrap up, end of your point or argument. Moving on, switch topics. Let's shift gears a bit. Great for informal switches. Here's how native speakers flow through points. To begin with, we need to look at the budget. Then, we'll analyze the options. Finally, we can decide as a team. Now, let's level up your opinion sharing. Stop using only I think and upgrade to, from my point of view, as far as I'm concerned, in my honest opinion, to my mind, slightly formal. If you ask me, casual and confident. These make your speech feel thoughtful and nuanced. To show cause and effect, skip the overused because and go for due to. As a result, that's why, which led to, for that reason, consequently, formal but strong. Example, we missed the deadline. As a result, the launch was pushed back. To summarize or conclude ideas smoothly, use in short. To sum up, in a nutshell, informal fun. Basically, all in all, these are super useful at the end of a conversation, report, or email. Now let's focus on emphasis, how to highlight what matters. The key takeaway here is, what really stands out is, it's important to note that, above all, let me stress this. These phrases tell your listener, hey, this part matters. Pay attention. Want to show agreement or build on an idea in conversation? Use absolutely. That's a great point. And to add to that, exactly. And here's why. That ties in with what I was saying earlier. That reminds me, transitions into a new idea naturally. If you want to soften disagreement, go for, I see your point, but that's fair, though I see it differently. True, but have you considered, I'm not sure I fully agree. These keep things respectful and intelligent. Now, a quick list of everyday connectors to sound casual but smooth in conversation. So anyway, return to your story. By the way, shift topic or add detail. Speaking of that, link to something mentioned earlier. Come to think of it, add something you just remembered. Long story short, summarize. Let's put it together in a real example. To begin with, we had no clear strategy. Then, our priorities shifted mid-project. As a result, deadlines slipped. Still, the team pulled through. All in all, I'd say we learned a lot. Now that's fluent. That's how you guide your listener through your thoughts. Here's a mini practice routine to lock these in. Pick a topic, any topic, your weekend, a movie, your job. Tell a story or give an opinion using 5 smart connectors from this list. Record yourself. Listen for flow. Did it sound smooth and logical? Repeat with a new topic. You'll feel the difference within days. Final tip, don't overuse connectors. It's not about adding more, it's about adding the right ones in the right spots. Master these, and your English will not only sound fluent, it'll sound intelligent, organized, and impressive. Confident conversation fillers. Let's talk about something most English learners avoid, but every fluent speaker uses all the time: fillers. Now you might be thinking, aren't fillers bad? Actually, no, not if you use the right ones the right way. Fillers help you sound more natural, more confident, and more connected in conversations. They give your brain time to think while still sounding fluent. Native speakers use them constantly, and now, so will you. Let's break it down. First, the most common neutral fillers. These help you pause without sounding awkward. Well, soft, friendly, great to start thoughts. So, keeps the story going. You know, adds relatability. I mean, clarifies or softens what you just said. Like, casual, modern, especially among younger speakers. For example, so I was at this party last night and it got wild. I mean, you wouldn't believe it. Notice how the sentence flows. These words don't carry meaning. They carry rhythm. Now, let's look at fillers to buy time when you're thinking. These keep the conversation moving while your brain catches up. Let me think. What's the word I'm looking for? How should I put this? That's a good question. Off the top of my head means you're giving an answer without preparation. Imagine this. Someone asks, "What's your biggest strength?" You freeze. Instead of awkward silence, you say, that's a good question. Let me think for a sec. I'd say I'm really good at adapting to new situations. Smooth, natural, fluent. Let's level up with conversation maintainers. These keep you engaged and involved even when you're not saying much, right? Confirms agreement. Exactly. I hear you. Totally. Shows you're listening, even without words. That makes sense. Casual validation. These phrases help you show interest without interrupting or dominating the conversation. Now let's talk about softeners. These fillers make your speech more polite, humble, or flexible, especially useful in English where tone matters a lot. Kind of, sort of, makes things sound less absolute. A little bit, tones down strong opinions. I guess, shows openness or hesitation. Maybe, probably, adds doubt politely. Instead of saying you're wrong, a native speaker might say, I sort of see it differently, maybe. It sounds soft, respectful, but still honest. That's powerful communication. Now, some fillers show uncertainty, but still keep the flow. I'm not sure, but it could be that. I could be wrong, though. If I remember correctly, I might need to double check, but these are perfect when you're unsure, but don't want to go silent. Want to sound relatable and friendly? Use these. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I was just thinking, here's the thing. Let's say you're telling a story and want to make it personal. Here's the thing. I knew I should have said no, but, I didn't. You sound like a friend, not a robot. Now for a few more filler-style openers that sound supernatural. To be honest, add sincerity. Honestly, truth be told, shows real emotion. Funny enough, introduces a surprising detail. Believe it or not, grabs attention. The thing is, perfect for explaining your thoughts. Here's a dialogue to show how native speakers mix all of these. A. So, what'd you think of the movie? B. To be honest, I thought it was a bit slow. The story was kind of predictable. You know what I mean? H. Totally. I felt the same way. I mean, the visuals were cool, but the plot didn't hit. That's natural conversation. Fluent, casual, and confident. Let's talk about how not to use fillers. Don't use too many in one sentence. It sounds scattered. Don't rely on just one filler every time. Mix it up. Don't fear silence. Sometimes a pause is better than filler overload. The goal isn't to stuff your speech, it's to keep it alive when your mind needs a second. Here's your quick challenge to practice. Choose 3 filler types from this section: thinking fillers, softeners, and conversation maintainers. Record yourself answering a question like, "What do you do on weekends?" using at least 5 different fillers. Play it back. Does it sound smooth and natural, not robotic or overly formal? Once you get the rhythm, you'll see fillers are like the glue of fluent English. And here's the final mindset tip. Fluent speakers don't speak faster, they speak with flow. That flow comes from pauses, fillers, tone, and confidence. You're already speaking better English than you think. These fillers just unlock the next level. Polite and tactful language. Fluent English isn't just about what you say, it's how you say it. And when things get awkward, tense, or even just sensitive, the most fluent speakers know how to stay tactful, polite, and respectful. They can disagree without sounding rude. They can ask for what they need without being pushy. And they can say no without making things weird. That's what this section is all about. Polite, diplomatic English. The kind that builds trust, keeps conversations smooth, and helps you navigate real-world situations like a pro. Let's start with one of the hardest things to do in any language, disagreeing politely. If you just say, "I disagree," or "that's wrong," it might come off too strong. Try these instead. "I see what you're saying, but that's an interesting point. Have you thought about it this way?" "I get where you're coming from, though I see it differently." "I respect your opinion, but I'd like to offer another perspective." That's one way to look at it. Here's another. "Here's how that sounds in real life. I see what you're saying about remote work being distracting, but for some people, it actually boosts productivity." Now let's talk about giving feedback, whether it's personal or professional. You don't want to be too blunt, but you also don't want to lie. Here's how to strike that balance. "Can I give you some feedback?" Ask first shows respect. "Here's something I've noticed." Neutral and non-judgmental. "You're doing great, and there's just one thing that might help even more." Start with the positive. You might want to consider a gentle way to suggest improvement. Have you thought about trying? Opens a door without pushing. Let's say you're reviewing a colleague's work. You've clearly put a lot of effort into this. One thing you might want to consider is tightening the intro. It could make it even more impactful. That's tact, and it builds trust, not tension. Now, what if you need to say no? It's one of the most important things to learn, because if you can't say no without guilt, you'll burn out fast. Here are better ways to do it. I'd love to help, but I'm fully booked right now. I'm really sorry. I don't have the bandwidth at the moment. I don't think I'm the best person for this, but maybe name could help. Unfortunately, I'll have to pass this time. Thanks for thinking of me. Maybe next time? You're not rejecting the person. You're setting a boundary with grace. Now let's move to polite requests and suggestions. Instead of do this, try. Would you mind? Could you possibly? I was wondering if you'd be open to. Do you happen to have a minute? If it's not too much trouble, these phrases make requests feel less like demands and more like invitations. Example: would you mind reviewing this document before tomorrow? It would really help. Want to make suggestions without sounding pushy? Try. Maybe we could. What if we tried? Here's one idea to consider. Have you thought about just throwing it out there? Very casual. For example, what if we tried sending a short version of the report first, just to get initial feedback? Now let's talk about sensitive issues. When you need to bring something up, but you're worried it might upset someone, try leading with, "This might be a bit awkward, but I hope this doesn't come out the wrong way. I just want to be honest with you about something. Can I be real with you for a sec?" Casual but warm. I hope you know I'm saying this with respect. Let's say your friend has been late to every meeting. You could say, "Hey, I hope you know I'm saying this with respect, but it's been hard to start on time lately." You're naming the issue without attacking the person. Next, let's cover delaying or declining without offending. Instead of saying, "I can't now," say, "Could we do this a bit later? Now's not a great time. Can we circle back? Let me check my schedule and get back to you. Can we put a pin in this for now? Great for business. I don't want to rush this. Let's revisit it tomorrow." For correcting someone politely, you don't want to embarrass them. Try. Actually, I think it's gentle correction. I may be wrong, but I believe, if I remember correctly, I had a slightly different understanding. For example, actually, I think the meeting's on Thursday, not Friday. But I could be wrong. That's a correction that feels friendly, not harsh. And finally, when you're acknowledging mistakes or apologizing, use, "I take full responsibility for that. That's on me. I should have handled it better. Thanks for your patience. I really appreciate you flagging that. I'll make sure that doesn't happen again." These show maturity and professionalism, two key signs of fluency. Let's wrap up with a micro challenge. Choose 3 polite phrases you don't use yet. Write them down and create a short scenario where you'd use each. Practice saying them out loud, maybe even record yourself. Try using one of them in your next real conversation or email. Remember, tactful English isn't fake. It's emotional intelligence in action. It shows respect for others and confidence in yourself. You made it. That was 250 plus advanced English phrases, broken down into the most useful, real-world categories, phrases that don't just teach you English, but help you live it. Let's take a quick breath and go back through what we've learned. We started with everyday conversations, where we replaced flat, robotic phrases with confident, expressive ones. Instead of saying, "I'm good," you learned to say, "I'm doing well." Thanks for asking. You found new ways to react, to build conversations, and to keep your speech alive. Then we dove into work and business English, where you learned how to shine in meetings, emails, and interviews. You picked up phrases like, "Let's align on that," "I'll take the lead," and "that aligns with our goals," all the tools you need to sound like a true professional. From there, we tapped into your emotional range with emotional expressions. You now know how to say things like, "I'm overwhelmed," "I'm on edge," "that hit me hard," or "I'm over the moon." Phrases that help you express how you really feel and connect with others in a real, human way. We got creative and colorful with idiomatic phrases, those tricky, non-literal expressions that native speakers love. Whether it was drop the ball, out of the blue, or bite the bullet, you learned to hear, understand, and use idioms naturally in context. Then we gave your speech a smooth, professional rhythm in the Smart Connectors section. You learned how to use phrases like "that said," "in a nutshell," and "to begin with" to create flow and keep your thoughts clear and logical. Next came conversation fillers, the secret to sounding natural when you need time to think. Let me think. You know what I mean? I guess, and the thing is, all real tools that give you time, confidence, and connection. And finally, we stepped into the powerful world of polite and tactful language, the English that gets you through disagreements, hard feedback, or delicate conversations with confidence and respect. You learned how to soften no, give suggestions, correct someone kindly, and set boundaries, all without sounding cold or distant. Take a moment and recognize this. That's not just vocabulary, that's transformation. These 250+ phrases aren't meant to be memorized and forgotten. They're tools. Each one is a key, a way to unlock smoother conversations, better relationships, new opportunities, and deeper confidence in English. But here's the truth. Knowledge alone won't change your speaking. Practice will. So here's your plan. Step 1. Choose your phrases. Go back through your notes or rewatch sections of this video. Highlight the phrases that feel most useful for your life right now. Maybe it's business phrases, maybe emotional ones, maybe connectors or disagreement softeners. Choose 10 to start with. Just 10. That's it. Step 2. Say them out loud. Reading is not enough. Your mouth needs to know how these phrases feel. Say them aloud. Practice them in the mirror. Record voice notes. Use them in a journal or conversation with a friend. Say it until it feels natural. Step 3. Use them in real conversations. This is where the magic happens. Next time someone says, "How are you?" say, "I've been better, but I'm okay." Next time you disagree, say, "I see it differently, but I get your point." Next time you're giving feedback, lead with, "You've done a great job so far, and here's something that might help even more." Small changes equals big transformation, and don't be afraid to sound different. That's how progress feels. Fluency isn't about perfection. It's about confidence, connection, and growth. Now, if you've watched this far, you're not just a learner, you're a builder. You're building fluency step by step, phrase by phrase. That takes commitment, focus, and heart. So here's what you can do to keep growing. Rewatch the sections that challenged you. Pause, repeat, practice. Use this video as a daily warm-up. 5 to 10 minutes of real speaking every day. Share these phrases with friends or your study group. Teaching others helps lock it in. Write your own examples. Try putting 3 to 4 phrases into one story or email. Come back and comment which phrases you used today. Inspire someone else who's learning too. And here's one final thing to remember. You don't need to speak like a native to be fluent, but you do need to speak with clarity, confidence, and connection. That's exactly what these phrases were built for. So whether you're prepping for IELTS, nailing a presentation, making friends in a new city, or just trying to express your feelings better, these 250+ phrases are here for you, ready to support you, ready to grow with you. You're not learning English anymore. You're owning it. Now, if this video helped you, like it, share it, and subscribe for more real-world English that actually makes a difference. Your fluency journey is just getting started, and I'll be right here to guide you every step of the way. Until next time, keep practicing, keep speaking, and keep showing up. You've got this.